Hey, welcome back everybody. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Muse Jester. My name is Junior. We're going to be looking into Mezco's 1/12 scale Superman 1978 Christopher Reeve edition. Just a brief summary of my experience with Mezco. When it first came out, I was very heavily for buying their items because I was coming off of Hot Toys, which was getting expensive at the time, $240, $220, and Mezco was presenting their figures at $80. Soft goods, clothing, fabric clothing to hide the joints, and a lot of accessories, and they were $80. So but then they started doing exclusive stuffs, which I really don't like, because I feel like exclusives just create some sort of false rarity in an item, and I'm not here to collect rare items. I'm here to collect figures that I like, and if I can't get them, or they make it difficult to get them, I really don't like that, because I miss out on my collection. So I was beginning to get out of Mezco. I had like 10 or 15 figures from them before I stopped getting them. But this is Christopher Reeve Superman, one of my most, if not the most, favorite character that I've always coveted, and for them to present it, I needed to get it. This is on a tin can, so presentation wise it's good. I just don't like the fact that it's circular or cylindrical, but look at this one, embossed Shield S. This is definitely from the movie poster, and you look around, so it's really nice presentation. But anyway, I pre-ordered this a long time ago, and it came, and this is an unopened. I think I have two of them, and I think this is the unopened one. I'm not sure. Yeah, unopened, right? So I'm only opening this now. I'm only reviewing this now, because when I received it finally a long time ago, I decided to wait until I received the 1989 Mezco Batman, because these two would be iconic together. This is going for 189 or 190, I can't remember, but it had a lot of stuff. So I waited until the 89 Batman came out to review this, and unfortunately the 1989 Batman from Mezco really broke me as a Mezco collector. If I was already on the down low, or if I was already waning on my enthusiasm with my collection for Mezco 1989 Batman basically shut me off. I was so disgusted by the product, by the response of the company at the time, that I just like, screw it. This is really bad. The thing is, you can have really good products, but if your customer support, or your product support is really bad, then you know it's not worth it. It just turns me off. So anyway, so I'm giving Mezco a second chance by reviewing their products, because I want to see, right? Because the problem with the 1989 Batman was it's their second branching off using a different material for their products, which was a rubberized body. The Alien was the first one, the 1989 Batman was the second one, and it was bad. I think it's a failed item. So if Mezco ever creates another item that does rubberized bodies, don't. That's my basic advice to you guys. Do not support it. It's gonna suck. And if the product sucks, unfortunately their customer service sucks, their response time sucks, and their response to fix the product sucks. That's all it is. So I'm giving Mezco the chance because on their fabric items, because their fabric items, it's not bad. It's pretty good. I only started to walk away from the other previous Mezco, earlier Mezco products, because I just really want a classic design costume, and they were putting their own spin and everything, and these are still expensive, and I don't want multiple figures of a character that's going over $80 to $100. You have to remember their basic figure was $80, which was comparable to a Mafex figure, and theirs was fabric, and that basically for me made it so that I think that's much better than the Mezco, the Mafex offering. So you're seeing right now is basically the materials or the accessories that come with this figure. So going back, if I do like what's going on, but I don't know, Mezco right now, I'm seeing that their accessories aren't as numerous as before. So it still has 3 heads, as you can see, a bunch of hands, kryptonite, some over here, and most specifically is this base, which is kind of cool, and it's got batteries for a light up feature. The flight stands of Mezco is always awesome because they're comparable to the weight of the object to the strength of the joints. It really stands up pretty well. I actually use this for some of my 1/6 scale figures, and it works. The only downside to this is the footprint of this base is so big, but it makes sense because if you have it flying at an angle, this base, big base, is able to hold it. Just push this in and this will pop out, and then you plug it in. I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to be displaying that. So let's see, let's look at this head first. Let me pull these out. That way it's just going to be like one really quick one. So the other thing too, one of the things that I really liked about Mezco was they do tend to think of in terms of the collector's mind, and they try to include whatever you can think of as a collector that you would want. Meaning that, look, I don't remember of any other toy line that actually includes a bag to put your accessories in. And it even says 112, and you can type it in here, right down here, whichever product it's from. That's the cool thing that would really grab you from Mezco. Also, the packaging is usually pretty good, displayable as well. So we'll look at the face. So there's the face. Remember, this is a 1/12 scale figure, so even though it's not completely accurate to Christopher Reeve's face, it's still impressive for the size. The only one that I can compare this to at this scale is the NECA Christopher Reeve Superman. There has been some shrunk down copies from the Hot Toys Superman, the 1978 1/6 scale. That's kind of impressive as well, but this is one made by Mezco. This is the smiling one, which I don't think is as strong as the other one. It's really hard to capture an expressive face, especially Christopher Reeve's. I've tried it before. Like, that's good. The shape of the cheek, the way it stretches up with the corners of the mouth, that's really good. Just somewhere over here it gets lost. I don't know why, but like the hairstyle is really good too. I think the paint application could be better, but for the scale, it's good. And here's the somewhat somber one. That's good right there. 3/4 view. The front was just something about the front that where it gets lost. I don't know why. It could be because of the body too. Now, with Mezco, one other thing that made me start to stay away from their products was the body type that they were using. The very first ones, it seemed wide and squat. Actually, all my Mezcos, I have it in the box somewhere. I don't even display it. They just didn't fit in any of my collection anymore. But so I can't have any comparisons. The S shield design is accurate to the movie. So I was talking about the body style. So I'm really glad that this body style is more realistically proportioned, because the other Mezcos, they're wider. Even though it's the same height, but they're kind of wider. So like I said, the Mezco's has fabric clothing. I'm gonna fix that line. This is out of the box, as you saw, and then this is just hard plastic, but it's really well done. So in terms of the figure and the fabric, there's the back. The S shield in this one seems slightly bigger than it should be. In terms of when it comes to the fabric items or fabric offering, I feel Mezco is good, right? Remember, this is $195. The stitching isn't so big that it just steals from the figure. I mean, you can't really fault it. It's a small scale, so you can't really do kind of stitching. It's always going to stand out. But the wires, the edges of the wires are actually the edges of the cape is actually wired, so that's good. So you can kind of shape it to the contours of his shoulder. Again, because this is a 1/12 scale, you cannot fix how this cape will bunch up. It's just too small of a scale. You can kind of press it down to make it kind of fit much better, but it's just too small of a scale to do wired capes, and the fabric just won't fit it. So I'm pulling back a little bit just to see how it feels. It just feels so in hand. The proportions aren't completely correct, again, because I'm gonna say because it's 1/12 scale. Like the neck feels a little bit too wide compared to the body, I mean to the head, and also to the body, but it looks good. It just doesn't look completely natural, but it is a 1/12 scale. Again, I'm gonna keep on saying 1/12 scale because I use that as a sense of, oh, I'll forgive them for that because it's such a small scale and it accomplishes quite a bit. So remember, I went to Mezco because Hot Toys was getting too expensive at $220. Imagine how it feels for me to be reviewing a 1/12 scale at $200 and trying to see the value in the items. Here's a kryptonite. This is the kryptonite necklace that Gene Hackman puts on him, which is kind of disappointing where it's just gray. Here are some kryptonite crystals that you can put in. Surprisingly, I didn't know this. There's actual magnets in there. That's kind of interesting. I'm just gonna show these hands in this whole bunch. They're expressive hands, so you can, whatever hands that you need to pose a figure, grabbing hands, flying straight hands, crystal holding hands, relaxed hands, and of course the closed fisted hands. That's on the figure. Alright, so I installed the battery that's underneath. There's 3 AAAs. And I just flick it on. So it lights up really nice in camera. It doesn't seem, it's not as impressive up in front. Oh, it's kind of interesting. Let me dim down the lights. So now that's a little bit more impressive out in the dim light, because especially since it's doing all this thing on the very top. There is one part that's kind of disappointing. So I don't know if you can see this, but there's wires that seems to go up there that might indicate there's supposed to be a light going to that one, which basically means that I suppose that if you put this crystal up here, then it's supposed to light up, but it's not doing that for me. Let me see. Switch over to this side. Yeah, so I don't know if mine is just broken, or but it's not lighting up the crystal inside there. So we'll just put him aside for now. So I bought this actually directly from Mezco, from their site. So let's see, the articulation, the head goes up pretty high, and also notice that there's a joint on the bottom of the head and at the base of the neck, so it gives you a really wide range of motion, right? Their elbows are double jointed, but because of the stretch of the fabric, that's basically all you're gonna get. There's the hand movement. The material that they use for the fabric is thin, but it's not like the way it was with the Hot Toys one, where it's catching the fingernail or anything that would cause a burr in the fabric. So that's pretty good. Here's the articulation for the waist. The bottom of the rib cage does have its own bend, as you can see. Really a wide range of movement. Double jointed on the knees. It's nice and tight on the ankles. Notice also that the bottom of the shoe is glossy. That's the way it is with the actual suit, where this is fabric or leather, and then this one was, I don't know why this was always shiny, but that's the way it was in the movie as well. So that's kind of cool. So as I've said before, when it comes to the fabric clothing, the articulation, the head sculpt, I think Mezco pulled it off. I mean, it's really well done. It really is. And I deliberately made a conscious decision to review this, to give Mezco the highest benefit of the doubt because this is my most favorite character, and I knew I was gonna like it. It's something to raise my expectations of Mezco coming from the bottom of the 1989 Batman rubber suit. So it doesn't disappoint. Is it worth $200? I can't. Now that I think about it, it's like, did I really pay $200 for this, or is it 125 or 150? I can't remember. The Big Bad Toy Store lists this sold out at 195. I just don't see myself paying $200 for two of them, and buying two of them. So that's 400. I keep thinking it's like 125 or 150. I'm gonna have to try and track down the price of when I bought it. The fabric of the cloth is pretty good for its scale, because even though the wire is very strong, it can hold the shape, so you just have to be patient and straighten it out to make it look natural. And it drapes pretty good too. This is almost the perfect gauge for a wire fabric of this size. You can't escape the fact that, of course, it's gonna have that kind of a seam. It's so small, you know, but the fabric is good. The color is good enough. This is not exactly to what it was screen used, but on camera it's turning out pretty good. Because of the range of articulation, I feel like you can get the pose that you need. The head pops out really well, pretty easily. Feels like there's this rubber contact for the peg. It slides on rather than pops on, so that's good. With a Christopher Reeve Superman, you need to have a smiling face. This collar that keeps bunching down, it does tend to distract me. The only thing is, I would say, and I would comment on, is because the neck does have that extra articulation and that does have that extra cut, it sort of breaks it for me. Because the fabric hides the joints, most of it, from the rest of the body. To see it right there in the neck, it just kind of breaks the illusion quite a bit for me. I feel like if you futz a little bit more, you can push the articulation to have it sitting more naturally. I like this head more than the serious one, so it gives it a serious but kind of like not, don't take me too seriously look. But it's, I don't know, it's a little bit off. It's a good Superman head, but I wouldn't say it's a good Christopher Reeve head. It's like a mix between. This one looks more like Christopher Reeve, but it just seems so serious though. Christopher Reeve, one of the reasons why I like him as Superman is just he was never super serious. Even, you know, he only became serious when he was fighting Lex Luthor with the missiles and everything. But his portrayal of Superman was kind of down to earth. The other thing, maybe, I don't know how it is now with the Mezco figures, and I can't believe I'm going to compare it to the McFarlane figures, because McFarlane has that disc inside the shoulder that you can kind of raise it a little bit And Mezco doesn't have that. It doesn't even have butterfly joints. So I want to keep raising the shoulders because it seems like his shoulders is sitting a little too low. And I can't do that because it doesn't have that joint. I also want to keep pushing his hands to the sides of the body. It's doing it well enough, but I feel like I wish I could do that a little bit more. That disc over here in the shoulder, if it had it, would have been able to give him that function. I also want to add, I don't know if it's just specific to this figure or throughout Mezco. I haven't handled Mezco for the longest time. Replacing hands, this has got to be one of the smoothest experience to take off a hand and the peg system, where it's not, you're not scared that peg is, but I'm not scared pulling this off and on because it just seems so easy and less destructive of a potential, you know. So I have to commend them on that. Alright, so there they are, the world's finest, Superman and Batman. I think that pretty much finishes it for me. I suppose that if they ever do come with a Wonder Woman Linda Carter, I would definitely get it. I think that in itself is, that pose right there is iconic for me. Here they are together. I mean, I really do like, I mean, if I'm going to display it like that. The one thing I was going to say is, why didn't they put a hole in this base so you can just attach it straight to that one? Right? You know, the workaround is to have this, and that kind of looks ugly. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill right through there and try to see if I can make a post. So here are my final thoughts on buying any more Mezco products. I've always wanted to find a company that's kind of capable of crossing different IPs, intellectual properties, more specifically between DC and Marvel, that's to scale with one another. Unfortunately, I've never seen that completely done, except Mezco. Mezco is the only product that actually has both DC and Marvel licenses. And as you can see, with each other, their products basically scale almost perfectly. I know Michael Keaton's supposed to be smaller than Christopher Reeve. I don't care about that. It doesn't have to be that completely accurate. I just know that this is a good representation of Christopher Reeve's Superman and 1989 Michael Keaton's Batman, so that they scale in a heroic sense to me. So for me, these two completes this, except if they ever come out with a Linda Carter Wonder Woman, this would complete this. That's it for me. However, Mezco is now coming out with a Captain America Silver Age edition. It's $95. I happen to have the Superman Man of Steel from Mezco. That's one of the items that I'm going to be reviewing pretty soon. So there are conditions if I'm going to buy any more Mezco products. First, it depends on the pricing. $95 for what's coming out. That's an acceptable price increase from the $80 that they used to have, because prices have been going up. Comparatively, the G.I. Joe from 20 to 25 in the time that it's come up, it's pretty steep compared to a 80 to 95. I feel like that's a much better increase adjustment. So the price is one factor. The second factor is I cannot be all inclusive with Mezco. It's just too high of a price compared to value. So my conditions would be, if it was Superman related, I would probably be interested in buying it. I already have the the Superman Returns black and silver costume. So if they ever do the 4 Superman, meaning the Reign of Superman characters, Cyborg Superman, Superboy, the Eradicator and Steel, then I might buy those, depending again on the price. Now I already have the classic Man of Steel Superman. I'm probably gonna buy Silver Age edition. I would need to get some sort of classic Batman, probably, hopefully in the blue and gray version or blue and black version. And then I know that Mezco came up with an Iron Man already. I'm gonna have to look and see if that's gone down a little bit on price, because I feel like $80. Then I think it's 120 because of the light up features. It just doesn't capture the price to value comparison for me. But I would get those 4 characters as my ultimate DC Marvel team up, and then maybe expand it to Justice League, Avengers, again in the classic styled suits. Those would be my only ones that I would be interested in purchasing from Mezco. I'm not interested in purchasing G.I. Joe from Mezco. I already have the G.I. Joe Classifieds, which I believe is the best rendition of the G.I. Joe 6-inch line right now. Out of curiosity, I put in the Marvel Legends Iron Man, and man, that fits really, really well with the Mezco product. So I don't even know if I'm gonna buy the Mezco Iron Man. It seems pretty good like that, so it fits really well with Marvel Legends. So yeah, that's very, very surprising to me. So that's it for my review of the Mezco 1978 Christopher Reeve Superman. I don't think it really depends. If you're a fan of Christopher Reeve, if you're a fan of Superman, then maybe $200 or whatever aftermarket value this thing is at now. Superman is really 200 is really reaching the top of this in terms of value wise for me, for such a small scale. And the idea of completing a line where they're all scaled to each other, that's crossing DC and Marvel, that's gonna be up to you as a collector to decide. I'm happy with what I've got, happy enough that I'm considering buying more Mezco products, so that's kind of good in their favor, coming off of my bitter experience with the 1989 Rubber Batman. So yeah, that's it for my review for the Mezco 1978 Christopher Reeve Superman. Do recommend it if you want to finish a line that's crossing both DC and Marvel that I plan to do. It looks nice, it feels nice, it plays nice. You can pose it. The articulation is really well done. The articulation range is really well done. It provides you a means of posing it well, and it doesn't take as much space as a normal Hot Toys does, and because of the expense that you pay premium wise for a 1/6 scale Hot Toys or even in art, you tend to be afraid to be playing with that. With the Mezco stuff, you're not. I feel like the durability of the product, if it's only fabric, not the rubber suit, I don't recommend rubber suits at all for Mezco. Stay away from that. But for the fabric, which is what they've been doing 95% of their items, I definitely would recommend Mezco for what you're getting. $95 instead of paying Mafex, which has all those joints. It does offer more articulation range, but I feel like Mezco products are a little bit more durable than Mafex, I think, and it feels much better than Mafex does, Mezco products. So that's it for my review. I hope you guys found it informative, enjoyable, for any future purchases that you make. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye.